Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the uh, AI-enabled chatbot webinar. We've had a successful day today with the quiz. I'm sure a lot of participants are back here today, and people who are joining directly for the webinar, welcome again. My name is Yashi Singh. I am Program Director, Computing Software Development for SQS Central Russell Khema. And today we will talk about an AI-enabled chatbot, which is chat support is very essential in today's time because most of the people when they buy a product or when they use a service, they have a lot of queries that are associated with them. It could be before they use it, it could be during the process, or it could be after a process. To support the customer throughout the entire process, it is not possible for them to always come for a face to face discussion. A lot of this problem is solved through chat support. Now, this chat support until now, until few years back, it used to be manual. That is, you have a number, you call that number, somebody would answer the phone and try and help you as much as possible. Now, this has been replaced by the revolutionary technology of artificial intelligence. Using artificial intelligence, you can create a bot, quite specifically called the chatbot. Now, the chatbot will help you have a human to human conversation without the person realizing that they are talking to an actual bot. They would still feel that they are interacting with a person and their queries are being handled. Let me just. So, as you can see, a chatbot is an AI enabled program which conducts a conversation via text or audio methods. They are designed to simulate human behavior as a conversational partner. Most chatbots can be accessed on uh, website pop ups or through virtual assistants like Siri, like Alexa, or through messaging apps like Facebook, like WeChat. So, all of these platforms can be used to embed your chatbot. They are typically used in a dialogue system for various practical purposes so that a person can have a one on one dialogue with a chatbot. Instead of writing a large query and getting one large reply, you have a dialogue system wherein you give your input. Immediate feedback is returned to you, and based on your input, you are redirected in the right direction. Pretty much like a human being will converse with you. So, that is why this is a dialogue based system. Now, the question is why make a bot? Why not just stick to the idea of conventional chat support, or why have a chat support at all? If you have all of these questions, it can be answered with a little bit of statistics measures. So, Facebook has released the following data using value of bots for businesses. 2 billion messages are sent between people and businesses monthly. 56% of people would rather message than call the customer service, and 53% of people are more likely to shop with businesses they can message. So they do not really want to pick up the phone and call urgently. Until it is something urgent, they don't really want to do it. People would rather prefer to drop in a message and then get an instant reply and then be directed to where they should be directed or be connected to the right person instead of first speaking to an executive and then being redirected to multiple people one by one until they reach the right entity. So that is why the preference, as you can see globally, has changed a little bit, and people would rather prefer to chat than to call. Now, these are some benefits of chatbots that you can see for businesses that use it. The one of the most primary benefits that we have is that it is 24/7. That means that bot doesn't need to rest. You don't have to give it break. It does not need to go back home like a chat support which is handled by a human being. So it is available round the clock, and also it is instant. As soon as a query is arrived, it's since it is an auto reply, it's an instant reply. You can actually program it to reply within a few seconds or reply instantly as soon as it gets a input. So this also makes the customer feel valuable. Then you can resource. Then there is another advantage of resource economizing, that is the actual man hours are reduced. In fact, to an extent that you don't really have to hire a lot of customer executive and you don't have to give them fixed hours. They are only needed only when some issue arises, and otherwise most of the straightforward issues, they can be solved using the bot itself. We will show you some great examples of these things as well. It generates leads and revenue. So people who have used the bot here, there must be today, tomorrow, if you are going to use any e-commerce site, or if you're going to use any service, you would see there is a chat index. As soon as you enter it, there are places they immediately ask you for your mobile number or your email ID. And there are few places where as soon as you converse a little with them, after that they would ask you for your details so that they can get back to you. Now they have the understanding of what you are looking for, and they have the method to contact you, hence generating a positive lead for the business, which would later convert into their overall revenue. It guides user to better outcomes. Now, instead of just redirecting someone to a website, or instead of just telling someone that you can find this detail on our page, the bot will actually direct the user to an exact place where the information can be found, whether it is an HTML page that they need to reach, or whether it is a person that they need to reach, an executive that they need to reach. They will always guide the user to a better outcome instead of giving them a broader reply. It improves user experiments because it has the ability to interpret common languages. Common languages can be understood by bot, and they reply to you in a manner that a human being will reply to you. So it enhances user experience. It restricts responses in the form of easy to understand text, images, widgets, again for better interaction. Then you have relationship building. The bot is pretty much capable of remembering all your customer preferences. This is a database. We are not going to run out of it. There's a lot of machine learning involved. So the more data you get, the more better the bot becomes over time. So it memorizes the customer preference, it learns from their responses, and it keeps a tab of it also. Based on that, whenever the customer comes back, it will advertise them based on their preferences. In fact, the notifications and the alerts can also be set according to the preference of a customer, hence enhancing the whole experience and building a lasting relationship with your customer. Now, let's talk about some of the underlying technologies of chatbot. Now, I know these names sound a little complicated and they sound a little over the top, that you think that why are so many technologies involved in a chatbot. But remember, a chatbot could be a very, very simple idea itself, and you can make it as intelligent as possible. When you start doing that, you need to understand more and more about artificial intelligence. Let's just begin with the definition. So, artificial intelligence is the science of making machines smart, using algorithms to allow computers to solve problems which used to be solved by humans. In this particular case, a software program that allows a chatbot to learn appropriate responses based on data it receives. Now that data comes directly from the customer. It's not a guesswork. It's not something we are predicting. That data comes directly as a feedback from the customer. So based on that, your software, it learns and makes your chatbot more and more intelligent. Now, AI technologies are built at analyze are very brilliant at analyzing vast amount of data to learn to complete a task, a technique called machine learning. So when this large amount of data is given to a system, it learns more and more. Now remember, the limitation with machines is when we start making artificial is all about making a machine smarter. Now when we start doing this, the limitation is that the machine does not learn in one go like a human being will. If you touch something hot, you have a stimulus, you know that you're not supposed to do it again. But the machine does not learn in the same manner. It does not learn with one experience. So it learns with the more volume of data you have, the more evidence you have for a factor, it will learn according to that. That entire concept is called machine learning. Okay, machine learning is a subfield of AI, and deep learning is a subcategory of even machine learning and AI both. When a program is given data to analyze to help it form context, but without being told what the relevant aspects of data are, when you don't know the relevancy in your data or what you are looking for in your data, you would go for an approach called deep learning. Now, all of this, they give you a few outcomes. Now, these outcomes again are based on a lot of popular technologies that we talk about. The very first one is natural language processing, that is recognizing human speech, mimicking human speech, because some of the chatbots are audio based also. So they need to also mimic human speech. Now, human speech is not only based on the way we write. When we write, there are things that are lost. For example, some nuances we have. For example, the tone, the way we use our body language, sarcasm. There are so many things that are part of how you talk. So a human speech is very, very different from just recognizing a text on a paper or on an email. So this is natural language processing. You could also do predictive analysis. That is, when you know the user, when you know what category a certain user falls in. There are few terms that we use here: classification, clustering, all of this. So you can predict the kind of user you have at hand, the kind of ex customer you have at hand, and you can increase their experience even before them telling you that what they want. You can kind of predict this. So that will be predictive analysis. And finally, we have sentiment analysis, based on the whole user experience, the way a user has interacted with your bot, the way he has the revenue that was generated, or whether or not was the talk successful, what the user was looking for was provided to him, and whether or not did it turn into something positive for your business. Based on all that, you can derive the sentiment from all these transactions also. You could get direct feedbacks, you can derive sentiments from that. Even if you don't have direct feedbacks, based on the whole transaction, you can derive the sentiment from that as well. That would be sentiment analysis. Now, these are very broad topics. A lot of algorithms, models, a lot of data science is involved here, but I would not go into those details. All you need to understand is these are the underlying technology that make a bot extremely successful in today's time. Now, when we think of bots, even when I'm explaining it to you, it kind of builds an image that this is something which is limited to e-commerce, or it is limited to somebody who's selling a product. But this goes beyond it also. It extends to the service industry also. And when we talk about the service industry, it could be part of almost any industry. I have taken an example of a very successful bot from the medical field. If you see, this is a Spanish hospital bot that can answer up to 100 queries at once. So at one single time, the bot can be talking to 100 different people. And it offers clear information about thousands of symptoms and illness. So if you are an anxious parent and you fire a query to the bot will first try and analyze what the problem is. If it is urgent, you are redirected to an emergency helpline. If not, they will try and find the right doctor for you. Uh, Check their availability, book it, cancel an appointment if you already have one. Also, once you interact with them, they understand what kind of customer you are and what is your requirement. That is the age of your child. That is the supposingly, if somebody has some illness that is being treated, if a child is asthmatic, probably. So any upcoming event that relates to you, and some general events also, will be specifically designed and will be notified to the customer in due time. So all of that is being done by this child health bot. Now, moving on to the platform. To build any software, you need a platform. The platform that I have chosen for my webinar today is ChatFuel. ChatFuel, it provides a self-serve platform for building Facebook Messenger chatbot. What it means is Chatful, when we reach to it in the second half of our webinar, you would see it's packed with features. You can use these features to design a chatbot according to your specific requirement, and it connects that chatbot to your Facebook Messenger. So wherever your business page is or your community page is, on that page you will have an integrated chatbot which is ready 24/7, and you would see it's absolutely simple to design. You would not need to code anything. This is not a programming based chatbot, so you don't really need to code anything. Chatfuel is a brilliant platform for that. It also boasts that some of the giants in the industry, they use Chatfuel. For example, Adidas, The Economist, the New York Times, Golden State Warriors, T-Mobiles, and many, many more. Now, have You heard of DOM. If you've not, DOM is the chatbot for Domino's. Now, Domino's happens to be leading the way when it comes to digital transformation. So, obviously, in this area also, it was not lacking. It was one of the first industry entity that applied a chatbot and is using it successfully to take orders, to deliver orders. The customer can simply click a few buttons on their chatbots and write a few details, and that's it. Your order is ready and dispatched. I will show you a small video that relates to it. Okay, so I think everyone has seen the video. If you see in the video, there are few questions that the bot will ask you. As soon as you log in, it welcomes you. Then it will ask you what kind of pizza do you want today. It takes your choice and then it gives you the choice of pizzas in that basic category. You can choose that. Then it will ask you for crust, toppings, size, all the details that it needs. Once it has all the details, it says your order is placed and they will get back to you. Wherever the store is, the store will contact you ASAP. Okay, so now this is the same thing that I will build today and show you from scratch using ChatFuel. So now let's go on to building a bot. Give me a second while I share my screen. Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. If not, you can write that on the chat window and the moderators will help you. Okay, so this is chat fuel. If you see here, this is chat fuel. What you need to do is you need to go on your search window, just type chat fuel. You will be directed to chatfuel.com. It will ask you to connect to a Facebook page. That is where it gets a little tricky. So then you come to your Facebook account because this is going to embed your chatbot into a Facebook account. Okay, now when you reach here, what you need to do is, because I have already created a page, but you would need to create a new page for yourself. So at the top, you see these three buttons. You can click on create and you can click on page. Once you click on page, you can choose what you're starting, whether it is a business or whether it is a community, and you say get started. Fill in these details, continue, and your page will be ready. Once your page is ready, you can populate with as much data as you want. You can add images, you can add description, you can start posting things into your page, and it'll be like any other business has a page. So you can create a page from here. I will not complete this process now. I would simply go back to my page here. Okay, because I would use this for my development purposes. Now let's go back to ChatFuel. Once you are on Chatfuel, if you're using it for the first time, you will see these two tabs there. Okay. Before I begin this, I would like to request all participants that not to follow this while I'm doing it, because you would miss out on a few things that I'm trying to explain. The link to this video will be shared to all of you later, and it will be available for viewing later as well. So you can run the video again from this specific part, and then maybe you can follow it step by step. It will be a good idea to follow my thought process right now along with me. Okay, so you will get two of these choices there. Choose from templates and add a blank bot. I would add a blank bot. Okay, now this is called bot 5 right now. If you want, you can rename this as well. Okay, all right, so this is my new bot. Okay, now I will click on the bot and I will enter an interface like this. Now these on the left hand side are all the features that are available in Chatfuel. So we will start with the very basic ones where we talk about that how a chatbot is built. So if you see this tab right here which says automate, click on automate. Once you click on automate, you will see a page like this. This is common for all of us. Even if you're the first time user, you will see a page like this. Now, okay, just give me a second to share my window again. Okay, I still hope all of you can see my window. So now if you see here, this is the first block that you have by default given to you, which is called the welcome message block. All right. Now, blocks are various things that you will create here, which will contain one use case at a time. Okay. Once I start executing it, you will understand it better. All you need to understand is all your blocks are in this area. The first block is given here by default, which is a welcome message. As soon as somebody connects to your chat window, they will automatically get the welcome message. It will be a good idea to change this and type something that relates to your work. Okay, you can type something interesting, something quirky, something smart. That's absolutely your choice. Now I will start adding new blocks. So now if you think about the chatbot that we have just seen for Domino's, so here can you see the plus button? It says add blocks here and you have a plus button. I will just work with blocks today. So I have added the first block. Here you can change the name of the block. Now, the first thing that I'm going to give my users is choice. Okay, the choice of pizza that they can have. This is called a text button. All right. When you click on it, you will get a text button here that says enter text. You can write something extremely simple. Okay. Now, after this, I want to give them two choices. One choice will be veg pizza and the other choice will be non-veg pizza. For this, I can create buttons, which is called quick reply here. These are quick reply buttons. You must have seen on a lot of chat windows that you have buttons that you go on clicking and it redirects you all over the place. So those are called quick reply. Once you click a quick reply, this is where you will reach. Now you can enter the name of your button. So first name that I'm going to enter is veg pizza. I'm going to add one more button which says non-veg pizza. Okay, those are my two categories. Let's say if you have a category of desserts, sides, cold drinks, all of that, beverages, you can add as many categories as you want here. But for now, to begin with, I just want to add veg pizza and non-veg pizza. Now come back to the blocks here. That plus sign will again be here. Click on the plus sign and then let's create a block. Now I want to create a block for veg pizza. Okay. When I enter this block, now in wedge pizza block, I don't want to share text with people. I don't want to share a quick reply. I would rather give them the choice of pizzas. So to do that, you can use another widget, which is called gallery. So when you click on gallery, it will give you something like this. Click on upload image. Once you click on upload image, browse to wherever your image is. So let's see. This will only happen for the first time. For the entire gallery, you can either choose landscape or square. It's within the gallery, you cannot change these elements. So be very careful of your choice right in the beginning. It can be changed later as well. So I choose landscape right now. I don't want to crop the image. If you want, you can go ahead, crop the image as well. A heading is a must, it's required. So I have to give it a heading. Let's say Margarita. Now I want to give more choices. Upload another image. Uh, Okay, it's giving me an error. Something went wrong, so I will try again. Since these platforms are online, you are in for a few surprises, but it usually works very well. I've never had any complaints. Okay. Let's add one more so that we have more options. Okay. All right. So this is all I'm going to do here, but there is something else that remains to be done in this section, but I will come back for it. Right now, I will create something very, very similar for non-veg pizza also. So I write non-veg pizza as the name of my blog. I add a gallery here. In the gallery, again, I will add a few elements. See, this the first time, this is always going to ask you whether you want a landscape or a portrait for the entire gallery. Okay, let's add one more. Now, if anyone is still confused how we are adding more elements, there is a plus sign right here. When I'm not on it, it becomes gray, so you may not be able to see it. But when you hover on it, it becomes highlighted. You click on this plus size and you can add one more element to the gallery itself. If you want to add a new gallery, go down, scroll down and choose the gallery button again. Okay, so I'm done with two galleries, which is a veg pizza and a non-veg pizza. Now let's go back to my blocks and create a new block. As soon as a user has chosen what kind of pizza he or she wants, the next question that automatically comes is the size. You would ask the person what size that they would prefer for the specific pizza. So here I would have to ask a question. So I will write what size, because without a question it is not clear, so you would have to go for a conversation. Now in this you will have some predefined sizes that your business provides, so a good idea will be to add another quick reply. Now my quick reply could be regular. I can add one more, medium, and large. I hope so far so clear. I have added three size. Now, once I have added the size, the next logical question that I can think of is you can ask a person, do they want another pizza? Let's see. Do you want? Now, you can have something more interesting here apart from the text. Do you see this something that says typing? Now, when you are talking to a friend or when you are talking to a human being that you know, you see people take some time to type, right? Now, if you don't give these conversational pauses, the conversation does not look humane. So what happens is you feel like you're talking to a bot because all the messages they pop up together. So it's a very good idea to introduce as many conversational pauses as required. It gives you a interface of 1 second to 20 second, but I would advise to keep between 2 to 4, because a very large conversational pause will not look good on your bot. People do not like waiting for so long. So after they have chosen the size, I say show typing again. And after that, this will be displayed. Do you want another pizza? Now, again, you see I'm giving them choices. So I will add two more buttons, one that says yes and one that says no. Okay. Now, let's go back. Once I've taken the size, I've asked the person, do you want any more pizzas? They've said yes or no, and they've gone back and chosen more pizzas and come back and chosen the size for it. The next thing that I need to do is I need to take their details. I need to confirm their order. Okay, so now this is the last block that I'm going to build today, which is confirm. Now, this will require a lot of text. First thing I can use is almost done. Okay. Never forget your conversational pauses. Okay. Then let me get your info, because you will need a person's information. Then another conversational pause. Okay. Now, after this, I will show you something more interesting, which is the more button here. So if you click on it, you will see there are more plugins that are available to you. You are not restricted to text, images, videos, galleries, and typing. You can do so much more. So if you see, you can take user input, you can plug in JSON APIs, you can export from Zapier and whatnot. It's full of features that can be directly connected with your chatbot. Okay, the one that I'm going to use today is called Save User Input. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to ask my user is name. Okay, this is required. You need to kind of give what kind of value it is. Then you have the add field button. You can add field and take as many user inputs as you want. So after the name, I would want their contact number. Okay, and here I can write number. And the last thing that I need for a pizza delivery is the delivery address itself. Okay. Alphanumeric, that means it will have both alphabets and numbers. So these are all the details I need. If you think that more details are required, you could always add more field in the user plugin. Remember, there are a lot of validations available here also, so you can validate the data which is being entered. Since we are doing this only for development purpose, I would skip this for now, but if you see, there are a lot of options to validate data as well. Okay. Now, after we've done this, you again need to provide a small conversational pause. Okay. Then enter a text where you can confirm that the order has been placed. Okay. And we will do something very similar as to what our DOM had done, the Domino's chatbot. We will add the last text box saying, you will soon get all. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Now, we have created a whole conversation flow, all right? If you look here, I've created a choice block in which I've asked for choices. Then I've created two blocks for veg and non-veg pizza. I've created a block where I can take their preference of size of the pizza and then finally confirm the order. But how do you actually integrate them? Which block knows how to talk to the other block or how to move on to the other block? That still remains to be designed. So the first thing that I will go back to is by welcome message. If you see in my welcome message, Remember, you always have to guide your user to an outcomes. You have to ask for a call to action. You cannot leave the user hanging. So even after your welcome message, the first thing that you need to do is you need to redirect them. Now, you need to redirect them to a block. So now after I welcome my user, I will probably redirect them to my menu, which is in the block called choice. Okay. So now if you see at the bottom, I'll show this again. I click on this, I enter the name of the button, and here I choose the button. Now the buttons that you've created will be here by default. So I choose the button that I want and I click outside of it and this added. I will do more of this so you can see it in action more. In the choice block now, I say choose from below. I don't have to add anything. Now when a person chooses veg pizza, they need to receive the block of veg pizza. Okay, veg pizza. Now, this one, when you click non-veg pizza, you receive the block for non-veg pizza. Okay, nothing else remains here. So I will move on to my veg pizza. Now with each pizza, as soon as a person has said add a pizza, you need to directly move on to asking the size. So this is something I will do for all the blocks. I will call them add and I will redirect them to size. Okay, again, add size. This will be a little repetitive because we have 6 of them. Okay, so I have added size to all 3 of them. The same thing I need to repeat for non-veg pizza also. As soon as you hover here, you will see this brightens up. You click on the button, add button. Here you always have to give it a name, right? Any name that you would want. You could give it the pizza's name itself. I'm using the word add, and then you need to redirect it to a button. Same you will do here. Add and size. And the very last one, you say add and you redirect them to a size. Okay, so if you see, I have done the same thing for 3 non-veg pizzas also. Nothing else remains to be done in this block. Now let's move on to the size block. In the size block, it will ask them what size. Okay, now regular, medium, large. After this, I don't want to redirect them anywhere because after this, I have a follow-up question, which is, do you want another pizza? In this, they have 2 replies, yes and no. Now, in this part, I want to redirect them. If a person says yes, I need to send them back to choices where they can choose the veg and non-veg category. If a person says no, then I have to send them to the confirmation block where they can confirm their order. All right, now let's check the last block. In the last block, if you see, this is a lot of text. This is a user input. So I don't really want to add any button here according to the conversation we have. Now I think we are mostly ready. So let's try to test our bot. If there is an error, we will come back and fix it. This button that you see here will help you test your bot. So as soon as you click it, it says open Messenger. Now here, if you see, it says type a message. So I can say hi. All right, something we need to fix. Let's go back to our welcome message and see if we have given him or her the right thing. Okay, we move it to choice. Let's try once more. Okay, so if you see, it has given me my message, the welcome message that I typed. It says, "Hi Yashi." It has inserted my first name because I'm also trying to connect it from my account itself. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Pizza Delivery. How may I help you? And then it directs you to a button. It does not leave you stranded. You click on the menu button. The menu button will redirect you to the choice button. Choose from below. I choose a veg pizza. Now, if you open it in a phone, you would be able to slide through these images. Okay, here I can use the arrow. So let's say I add this pizza. I choose the add button. What size? Regular size. If you see the typing, now it feels like somebody's actually typing from the other side. I say, yes, I want another pizza. Let's choose a non-veg pizza this time. Okay, so again, you can scroll through. You can add a pizza. You can choose a size. This time I will say, no, I don't want to add another pizza. Now see, the conversational pauses are important. Otherwise, all of these messages would have popped up together. Now you feel somebody is actually asking you questions. Okay, so now it has given me a message that my order has been placed, and it will tell me that somebody will get in contact with me for confirmation, wherever is the nearest store. And if you see the whole DOM we have created within a few minutes right here, and you can also do it as easy as this. Now let me show you some more features and make it a little bit more interesting. I have yet to tell you about the default answer. There's a default answer here. Whenever the bot does not understand what is being said to it, you can set up a default answer here. For example, I can delete all of this. Okay, let's suppose somebody has typed, I am lost. What would you probably give them an answer? So in that case, a default answer will go back to them. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, and I add a button here and I redirect them to the choice block. Okay, makes sense. Now I'll show you another thing. See, supposingly if there's an error here in your block, you will see a red dot here. Once the error is gone, the red dot will be gone. So if you see red dots in your blocks anywhere, something needs to be fixed. Always go back and check the block itself. Okay, so I'll give the name menu again. All right, you see the red dot from here is gone now. So this is my default answer. Let's say here I type hi again, since I have not set up what hi means right now to my bot. So it will give me a reply back. Let's try this again. That would be a default message, and I can click on the menu and begin again. Okay. Now, where does AI come in? AI comes in here. Can you see a tab here on your left hand side that says set up AI? Now here you can add as many AI rules as you want. For example, right now my bot does not understand what a hi means. So I can tell him, hi, hello, up, all of these things. Okay. In this case, the block that will be returned to them is the welcome message itself. Okay. This is the AI rule that I have added. Now let's go back and try this also. Okay. Let's test the bot. Now, if you see while I'm testing the bot, okay, I write the word hi again. And if you see, the welcome message is repeated again. Okay, so this is how you insert an AI rule. Now, I can insert as many AI rules as I want. A device, a product is always as intelligent as the person who creates it. So, the more AI rule you can set up for your particular requirement, the more conversational, the more better, the more customer oriented your chatbot will be. For example, let's say if somebody says, add another pizza. Okay. Now this person has already logged out and then he says he wants to add another pizza. So again, I can take them back to the choice block. Okay. You can go back again, automate and test this. Remember, every time you make a change, you will have to click on test your bot so that it can deploy the changes for you. Okay. So let's see if I've already placed an order. Okay. After doing this, I've said no here, okay? But then I want to add another pizza. So it will take me back to my blocks. I'm in the middle of a block, so it kind of gives me a error. Okay. If you get these kind of errors, please don't worry. These are deployment errors. It happens all the time. You really need to go back and fix something, or maybe there's something that you're not doing right. Okay, so it has completed the process. But usually, yeah, see, because it was in between a block, so it was not taking my input really. That would be an error on our part. But after it has finished that block, it will ask me to add another pizza, and I can choose from below and then begin the process again. So that is how your AI rule works. Now, solving this problem, the problem that you've just seen, that I was typing while a block was being executed, this can be fixed by something called sequence here. So what you can do is, instead of adding all blocks, you can add a sequence. Now let's suppose my sequence is all confirmation. In confirmation, I will make multiple blocks for each text box separately so that problems like this does not happen. If somebody types a message in between the block is being executed, they can also be handled very well. So you can go back to your setup AI and add as many rules as you want. For example, somebody writes that they want to change the side. Somebody says that I am lost, so you will again tell them let's begin from the beginning and take them back to the choice menu. Similarly, you can think of as many rules as applies to your idea and add them here. Okay, the more you add, the better your bot will be at conversation. So this is where I will stop my deployment. I hope this has been clear to all of you. Now, okay, so this is how we build a bot. All right. After building the bot or before building a bot, there are few things that you need to answer. Now, please remember, it does not mean that the bot are only for big organizations. You can think of something extremely simple. For example, right now we are all in lockdown, right? And let's suppose you are very, very good at some subject. And while you see your friends and your juniors are struggling a little bit at it, and you would like to start an online tutoring class, you can have an idea as simple as this. All you need to do is you create a Facebook page. All right, on your page write down the description of everything that you're offering and then create a bot. The bot will take appointments for you. The bot will tell them about the upcoming sessions. The bot will tell them about the sessions which are recorded and available for them. The bot can fix up an appointment for a one-on-one session with you, and you can tutor people. You can the bot will kind of act as your assistant also, where you know what is being organized. Now, while I was making this bot and deploying it, I'm doing it on my laptop, but all these messages are popping up on my phone. They are popping up on my watch also. So what happens is, supposingly, while my bot is at work and I'm away from it, I can still keep an eye and I know that so much of feedback is coming into my website. You can choose to stay away from it and check it every now and then, or you can choose to stay connected. And you can always find out urgency while the work is still being done. Your customers, they don't feel left out. But when you start making a bot, there are few very generic advices that I would like to give you. One, always start with a great opening message. It sets the tone when the person enters in. Just don't say welcome. Just don't say welcome to pizza delivery, what I did. Try and be more creative than me. Okay, then find the best possible response. If somebody has asked a tricky question, there will still be a roadmap that tells you that where this customer needs to go. Try and always give the best response, use the simplest of English, and add as many visual components as possible. For example, when I give them the choice of pizza, I could have given them buttons again, quick reply. I could have written all the names. But instead of that, I chose to give them some visual aids. So, as much as possible, include visual aids in your bot. Also, always guide customers to check out using call to action button so that it becomes easier for the bot to understand and for the customer to understand whether the process has redirected them to some place or not, or whether the process is over or not. Okay, so there has to be a button that is given to the customer when you finish typing. Until then, if you're giving them information after information, that's okay. But as soon as you stop, there has to be a call to action buttons. And the most important thing, see, there are a lot of design principles that I can talk about, accessibility issues that I can talk about. But instead of that, I will give you easier tips. One of the most important tip that remains here is that always give your bot a personality. When you start something as an individual, as a startup with a few people, or as an organization, there is a thought process that you are representing, that there is an idea that you have, and there's a personality that the company or a person takes over. You could be quirky, you could be smart, you could be sarcastic, you could be extremely funny, right? So give your bot a personality that you would like to associate your business with, that you would like to represent. What will happen is people will not feel monotonous. They would like to talk to your bot. It will be funny for them. It will be they'll be inquisitive about it. So it'll always be fun. Always add a personality to the bot. And this is where I stop for the day. Thank you everyone for watching. I will take up some questions and try and answer as much as possible. Okay, let me see. Okay, I can see one question here that says, what are the careers in AI? Now, AI touches almost every facet these days. You have AI when it comes to virtual assistant, you have AI in marketing, you have AI in e-commerce, you have AI platforms at the application level embedded in almost every business. So it depends on which side of AI you are. Would you want to be somebody who creates things, develops things? Would you want to be somebody who understands the AI platforms and can benefit the business by using it to its maximum capacity? So, no matter which background you come from, you can always find a career in AI. I'll give you an example. For example, retail these days, right? We loved going shopping. We would want to, walk into a store, choose things we want. But e-commerce boomed. A lot of people like it, and people who did not like it are forced to like it now, right? Now, what are these companies doing? They are hiring people who understand AI more and more, and they are making their platforms more customer centric. So people will enjoy the whole shopping experience at an e-commerce website as well. So AI can be thought of almost anywhere. Okay. I can see a question that says, can I add a bot to website like Wix or WordPress or even Instagram? You can definitely add it to your websites. If you have created a website using Wix, WordPress, or even if you've coded it using HTML, CSS, and JSP, you can definitely make a chatbot and embed it. Remember, there are more platforms beyond Chatfuel as well. Chatfuel for now is limited only to Facebook chat. You can integrate it into your Facebook page because most of the businesses, they kind of these days want to first keep themselves appraised on the social media platforms, because that is where your reachability to customer is, and you can easily reach a lot of people without much investment. So that is why it is restricted to this platform. But as I said, there are more platforms that will help you connect. What is the best place for doing a BSc computing science with artificial intelligence? Okay, that's a tricky question because Every university in its right are doing a very, very good job. If you are in the UAE, please contact us. Where we can store the information that we get from the bot? Okay, that's a very good question. You can store it in a lot of places. For example, you can get it as an email. You can add it into a database. You can add it into an Excel sheet. You can add it into a JSON file. So you can store the information whichever is feasible for your backend software. This information can easily be saved in the bot. In fact, you can also choose what information needs to be saved. Do you want the entire conversation? Do you want parts of the conversation? And which parts of the conversation exactly are you collecting information? Then that information needs to go into that correct column in your databases. You can design all of that. You can add it to your apps, definitely. If you do app development, if you're on Android Studio, once you build your app, you can also build a chatbot for it. In fact, interestingly, you can also code it there. What softwares do we use to program AI? Okay, if you're asking me programming languages, we use Lisp and Prolog. And apart from that, it depends what you are trying to do AI. For example, if you're trying to do data sciences, you want to, kind of predict your data, analyze your data, and then find out what is the, uh, uh, let's say, what is the most saleable product on your website. I'm not using the right word, I think. What is the high product which is highly sold on your website? Which areas have the highest sales? If you want to analyze anything like this, you might want to go for data sciences. Now for that also, there are multiple platforms. You can use something as basic as a Python coding, which can be done on your system directly with a Python interface, or you can download a VMware like Anaconda. You can use dbminer, you can use SAS, you can use SAP, depending on which industry you are in. But if you want to code in AI, you would use Lisp or Prolog. AI does have a future in medicine. In fact, the medical industry is one of the pioneers who use data mining and AI, because they have huge scientific data that needs to be analyzed. So they have kind of realized that if they can find the right feature subset, this analyzing can be done in a much compact and quicker way. So AI has a huge scope there as well. The one platform that we've just discussed is Chatfuel. You can also look at IBM Watson. Spam and genuine responses through a bot. This would be a question about data cleaning. Now, see what will happen through your bot is, let's assume I'm asking my bot to find out sales leads. So I've kind of integrated it in a manner where I take a person's email ID and I take the query, and then my customer executives get back to them. So if they can find the data on my website, well and good. Otherwise, they would get back to them. Now, some of these queries would not really be relevant. That is what you would call spam. There are two ways of handling it. You can either design a system that takes out the spam for you. This will be another application of NLP. Otherwise, you can otherwise you can use a simple database, and you can do data cleaning at your own convenience when you have received it. University best in MTech in Ireland. I don't think I'm the right person to answer that question correctly. Yes, right after class 12th also you can pursue AI, but remember to move ahead into the field of AI. There are some basic fundamentals of computings that remain to be built. So even after 12th, you have made your mind that you would want to go ahead with AI. What you can do is your year ones, your first year, will kind of comprise of subjects which build your fundamentals. A little bit of mathematics for computing, then you have programming, then you have databases. Once you have all these foundations, in your later in your years, in your final years, you can choose projects, you can choose subjects that take you specifically ahead in the field of AI, and then you can do your majors in AI as well. That is how a career progression for a student after class 12th will look like, who would want to go into the field of AI. uh, another course on chat fuel, but only more complex. We will try and deliver more. So you are right that this can be made much more complex. We can talk about design principles. We have just built a basic bot. Instead of this, we can build a bot that is much more intelligence. I can show you sentiment analysis. I can show you predictive analysis, how a bot is involved with all of them. But as and when we design it, we will come up with those webinars, and you will definitely get a mail from us. Yes, you can make a bot to reply in voice commands. In fact, one of the most, there is a competition that goes on every year where a lot of bots compete. So there's something called a Turing test in artificial intelligence. That is, you put in two rooms a bot and a person, and you have to find out whether you're talking to a computer or you're talking to a person, right? So nobody has been able to beat the Turing test till date. But there's a competition that goes on every year, and a lot of bots, they compete in it. There's a bot that's been winning since the last 3 years consecutively, and that bot is based on emotional support. It provides you emotional support to people who have anxiety, depression, or any such things that they think of. So it kind of gives you emotional support, and if you explore it, you will see that it has an audio interface as well. That is also a question you answer in accessibility. What happens with people who are differently abled? Should they not be able to chat with you, but they should be able to chat with you? So that is where audio will come in. How does a bot learn from user responses? Okay, that's a very good question. A bot learns, this is the concept of machine learning. I've said this during my webinar also. There is no machine that learns in one response. A machine takes multiple responses to learn, and that to a large data set. So the more real-time information you get, the more the machine improves. I will give you some very small example. For example, if you buy a new phone and your dictionary is still not set up, you would see it autocorrects almost everything. But once you start using it, you add on few words. After that, it picks up and it becomes much easier. So you type half a word and it types the rest of the word for you. So similar thing happens with chatbot also. This is how a machine learns. The more input it receives, the machine learning models, they improve over time, and the output and the outcome improves. And that improved outcome is called the learning. Would it not be a disadvantage if AI is used in most of the fields as human labor gets decreased? What will people do in such a case for living? Okay, this is a big concern, and this has been a big concern since the advent of artificial intelligence. We started working on artificial intelligence around the world war, and this question has popped up time and time again, that what would happen if human jobs are being done by machines? It will create new opportunities. It gives you more opportunities. Maybe instead of doing the repetitive task, you can take this intelligence, the human intelligence and the human power that we have, and it can be applied to better places. Now, I don't disagree that this is a disadvantage. It is a disadvantage. Some jobs will be lost because of it, but over time, more and more are being created as well. If you compare the last 50 years of artificial intelligence, if it has taken over some areas, it has also given you a lot of areas where you can actually be employed now. Will you have summer courses on chatbots? As soon as we take a call on it, you will be the first one to get an email from me. Yes, you can create a bot to reply in voice commands in the software. Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you for that positive comment. No, there is no pre-exam or entrance exam for joining AI. You are, although judged on the basis of of some basic understanding. For example, you must have some basic understanding of mathematics, because a lot of mathematical models and approaches are used when you start solving AI algorithms. That is there. If you are going to code it, some of your programming skills will be judged. If you're just going to use platforms, a computer literacy would be judged. So only these parameters are taken care of, but other than that, there is no entrance exam that you need to give for this. Yes, mechanical engineers can cope up with AI. I truly believe engineers can do anything no matter which field you're from. And computers is for everyone. We have automated almost everything. And what happens is when the best of two worlds combine, for example, if you're a mechanical engineer and you move on to some a field like AI, you can always go back and automate your own field. There are areas which are still untouched. You can come up with ideas that people have not thought of yet. So no matter which field you are from, a computing science branch can always help you if you have the interest and the right aptitude. Okay, somebody has asked how can we join the AI after diploma. So as I can see that once you have done a diploma course, it gives you a direct entry into a undergraduate course in year 2, or if you have extremely good grades, sometimes in year 3 also. And as I've said before also, by the time you reach your year 3 and you year 4, you have more choices of subjects that you can choose. You can take up projects that you do in the same areas, and then you can obviously find a specialization and complete your degree with a specialization in AI. If you want to pursue AI in a university specifically, you would want to start with a computing course. It could be a BSc in computing science, it could be a BTech in computer science and engineering, and any of these fields will take you in the direction of AI. In fact, I would also like to add that people from backgrounds of mathematics, stats, electrical engineering, all of these fields get integrated into AI very easily. These people also have an edge that they can use when they are implementing the concepts of AI. Okay, somebody's asked me, ma'am, how long is the webinar? As long as there are Q&As, otherwise I have wrapped up the webinar. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed. Now, before we leave for the day, I would like to introduce the moderator that we had here. She's Program Director of University of Stirling Computing, Miss Archana Pandita, my very esteemed colleague. She has been the moderator today, and she is the one who's answering all your questions. All right, Archana ma'am, can we wrap up, or do have I missed a lot of questions
I
anywhere?
think we are done with most of the questions. Just one last question, uh, asking how does the bot continue to learn once it's live, and how do we make sure that it doesn't start behaving or speaking in an inappropriate manner? I think it's an interesting question, so that's why let's
Yes.
take it as a last question and wrap it up.
Okay, all right, I will. So now see, the machines are not taking over. Don't worry. I know everybody tells you the machines are taking over. They're not taking over. Don't worry. So what happens is when you create a bot, you can kind of control the environment. Now, when I'm creating the bot, the information that the bot receives is immediately transferred into a database. If that is my intention, that I want to create or I want to keep all that lead and information. Now, once that data has been contained, it is not in the memory of the bot. Okay. Now, but if I want to make my bot learn, then I will have to apply an algorithm, uh, something that is designed with concepts of machine learning and deep learning. Okay. That model learns. Okay. Now, how a model learns is that the more data you give, the more evidence it has. For example, if an event has occurred, for example, the customer has shown a very positive sentiment with the service that I have provided. It is based on some factors. How can you say the experience was positive? So the customer came back, the customer gave you a feedback, or it kind of bought your services, referred it to more people. So you have some evidence. The more evidence you have of this, okay, for every evidence, there must be a feature that gets fulfilled. That feature is being recorded into the models. The more features that get recorded, the better the model becomes because it is learning. Okay. And now that embedded model will enable your bot to become more and more intelligent. But if you see, I have kind of created every line of conversation which is being said by the bot. There is nothing that the bot adds on itself. In fact, if I don't tell the bot what a hi means in capital H and small I and small h and small I, the bot doesn't understand the difference between the two. Okay, so it depends on how you control the environment. So a bot would not, even if it learns in a manner that it guides users to better outcomes. It gives you a better predictive analysis. It becomes more and more good at identifying the sentiment of the customer, the need of the customer experience is improved. That is what the bot is learning. The bot is not learning how to reply. Okay, so the bot will not come up with a new reply on its own. That environment is entirely controlled by the developers. I hope I've answered that question completely. Arshava?
That
Okay,
elaborate
I can't really
question.
hear, ma'am.
I have just
So, all
published my
right.
email
So,
ID
thank you so
also.
much for joining our webinar today. I had lots of fun creating this and sharing this with you. If there is interest, as I see there is, we will come up with more such sessions, and we'll definitely send you an invite to join it and the information about it. And all our students who have done the quiz in the morning, we will wait for you in the valedictory ceremony. And everyone else who's joined across the globe, thank you so much.